Hey guys, my name is Daniel. I'm one of the main photographers when it comes to the automotive scene here at Valve Auto. Now, many of you guys have been asking, what are your exact camera settings when it comes to rolling shots? And I'm gonna answer your question in this video. Now, it's very important that you go ahead and you test out these settings I'm about to give you, because the day when it comes to shooting that rolling shot and it's like a rare car or just one of your buddies, you wanna make sure you do as efficient as you can. So, learning these tips I'm about to give you, practicing them will help you become more efficient and will just help you know what to do when it comes to doing rolling shots. So before I do rolling shots, I break it down into 3 segments. What's gonna be my shutter speed, what's gonna be my ISO, and what's gonna be my f-stop. Now, I know these are the 3 main components of your camera, but learning these 3 main components is gonna help you learn what to do when it comes to rolling shots. So recently, I took out a Porsche Taycan and we were doing rolling shots for legal purposes in Mexico. Doing these rolling shots, I always ask myself, okay, how fast is the car gonna go? And before we move any car, we establish the speed. So in this shot here, we were going about 40 miles per hour. Now, I've heard many photographers and myself when I first started, I always said, match your shutter speed to the car speed. So if you're going 40 miles per hour, you're gonna shoot 1/40th. Today, I'm completely changing that and I discredit what I said back then. Do not do that, all right? You're gonna get nice crisp shots, it's fine, but the motion blur is not really popping. If you wanna do that, use half the shutter speed of the car speed. If that doesn't make sense, I'm gonna give you an example. You're going 40 miles per hour in your crowd killer and you're doing photo shots of that, right? You wanna have the camera setting on 1/20th. The reason for that is because you're gonna have a better motion blur and the shots are gonna look more crispier. If you're really feeling comfortable, then you can do half of half. So if you're doing 1/20th and you're going 40 miles per hour, you can do 1/10. Now, I do want to mention, if you're gonna be doing 1/10th shots, the road needs to be completely smooth, flat, like barely any bumps, because having that low of a shutter speed, you're gonna get a lot of blurry photos. So you wanna make sure that this road, you drive it on, you tested on it, and it's just not gonna give you any problems, like potholes, sinkholes, tornadoes, avocados, all that stuff. So the next thing I look for is the ISO. So this goes for anything. If the sun is out, your ISO should not be any more than at the lowest point. So on Canon, you can go to 100. The ISO I believe is 100. And on Sony, you can go on, the lowest is 50. So you should not have it higher than 50 or 100 if the sun is out. And the reason for that is because there's no need for you to increase the light sensitivity. If the sun's already out there, use your sun as your tool to bring up the brightness when it comes to taking photos. You would only need to increase your ISO if the sun starts setting or if it's disappearing. That's the only reason why you would need to increase it. So for ISO, it's pretty simple. Keep it at the lowest point when you're doing rolling shots. And last but not least is the f-stop. So the f-stop actually, it switches from time to time. It can be at its lowest, which is 2.8, depending on what your lens can do, or all the way up to f14 or f12. And the reason for that is because that's what's gonna help you bring the exposure to a nice look. So for example, if you're doing rolling shots, right, and you have it on 1/120th or you have it on 1/10th and you have your ISO at the lowest point, but it's looking super bright, then you would need to increase your f-stop in order to combat that and bring an even exposure. Vice versa, if your photo's looking way too dark, then decrease your f-stop, bring it all the way down to its lowest point at 2.8, or even if you have a 1.8. Now, I wouldn't go too low. I would want to make sure I have an f4. And the reason for that is to ensure the whole car is in focus. Because if you start bringing it down to 2.8 or 1.8, you're gonna have just like maybe the front of the car in focus and everything else blurry slash, not in, basically not looking good. So when you put those 3 things together and you combine them all, you're gonna have shots that are gonna come out very crisp. Now, when you do rolling shots, make sure that the road is lonely and is safe and all that good stuff. I don't want you guys getting pulled over by cops and then you guys showing the cops my video, and then now the cops are looking for me and I have a warrant. I don't want that to happen. Now, before I finish off, I would like to say that when you're doing rolling shots, just mess around with the shutter speed, right? So the first 20 shots, maybe have them all on 1/40th, and then the other 20, 30 shots, have them on 1/10th or 1/20th. Just mess around like that. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't think that out of the thousands shots you took on 1/10th, that 2 of them are gonna come out clean. It might be all blurry. So literally just have some, 1/20th, and just, you know what I mean. And that's pretty much it. So if you guys did enjoy this video, please go ahead, smash that like button. And if you would like to see something else that maybe you guys have a question about when it comes to the automotive world, let us know down in the comments down below. Other than that, it's Daniel from Velv Auto, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.